Well, on the origins of the strike, really it had been building up for quite a long period of time. The mining industry, I think, one needs to appreciate, was the central strategic area of British industry at the time. It employed over 1 million workers. And during the First World War, it was sort of pseudo-nationalised by the government of the day. In other words, they retained private ownership, but then the government regulated wages and conditions. And this was a period of time in which wages declined, working conditions deteriorated, and so on. And immediately after the First World War, amidst the initial wave of strike activities, workers attempted to regather some of the lost conditions of the earlier period. Miners were to be a central figure. In 1920, they were involved in action demanding better pay, better conditions, and so on. And then in 1921, around a very famous event called Black Friday, when a triple alliance was formed of the miners, the transport workers, and the railway workers, threatened a industry-wide strike in support of the miners, only then to call it off at the very last minute. And as a consequence of this, the mines were returned back to private ownership. So between 1921 and 1925, increasingly, the employers, having now taken back control, began to really chip away at miners' conditions. And amidst the changes in the nature of the world economy, the miners' owners attempted to hugely cut their wages, something like by 10 to 15%, and threatened to do this. And so when we talk about the strike, we're talking about a strike in which a central layer of the British working class movement is affected, but it has a broader impact, because the fact that so many workers were prepared to support the strike is evidence of the way in which many, of course, they were showing solidarity, incredible degree of sympathy and solidarity in support of the miners, but also they were concerned about their own conditions, their own industries and their own workplaces, and the fact that they recognised that if the miners were to be defeated on this, if their wages were to be cut, if they were to be locked out as was being threatened, then they themselves would suffer disproportionately as well. So this was the strike. It was nominally around the issue of wages and conditions, but of course it had much broader general significance, and indeed not just of an industrial kind, but also of a political nature.